Today, we're doing an entire breakdown of the clashes between Thailand and Cambodia about 1 month ago. Russia's war against Ukraine has expanded to Africa. The notorious Blackwater mercenary founder, Erik is now drone striking Haiti.
This is the U.S. intelligence agency, Mind Control.
Skirmishes between Cambodia and Thailand flared up on July 24 after Thai soldiers were injured after stepping on a landmine, blaming Cambodia for the incident while accusing them of laying fresh, Russian-sourced landmines, which would be in breach of the Ottawa Treaty, to which both Thailand and Cambodia are a party to. Cambodia categorically denies this accusation, and the likelihood of this being reality is relatively low. Cambodia has an issue with landmines and has been clearing landmines left over since the Cambodian Civil War, with around half of them being cleared and the remaining being on the northeastern border of Thailand. Basically, more evidence would be required from the Thailand government. Cambodia has also claimed to have evidence that Thailand laid the mines, but that seems even less likely, so that's all we'll say on this matter. Some have called for the matter to be taken to the ICJ. Sources confirm that Cambodia did fire the first shots, as Thailand claims, at the temple in question, but Cambodia insists it was responding to an incursion by the Thai forces in self-defense. Determining who did actually instigate the conflict isn't necessarily that important, so we're not going to dwell on it too long. The Thailand army, mostly American NATO weapons, launched an F-16 and a Gripen to run strikes against Cambodian artillery positions, which had begun shelling Thailand areas, initially hitting a 7-Eleven and killing 11 people. The Cambodian strikes seemed to be largely unguided and indiscriminate due to what seems to be an apparent lack of guided munitions or advanced weapons compared to Thailand. Regardless, those exchanges displaced nearly 300,000 people from the area, with diplomats being recalled and civilians advised to leave the area. Many of the corporate outlets were conservatively estimating the deaths around, maybe we can skip this part because it's like the 100 Cambodian soldiers, and we can talk about how Thai sources, Cambodia hasn't, whatever. Thai military sources have claimed Cambodian shelling also landed in Laos. Confirmation coming from America's PBS stating, quote, Thai authorities also allege several Cambodian artillery shells damaged homes and property in neighboring Laos. Laos confirmed that 10 artillery shells had landed in Laotian territory. Fighting came to an official and tense close, with a ceasefire reached on July 28 after mediation from the US, Indonesia, and China, with ASEAN leaders issuing a thank you towards the one and only Donald Trump. To be expected, accusations from both Cambodia and Thailand allege potential breaches of the tentative ceasefire. Cambodia accused Thailand of using chemical weapons on July 29, with a string of accusations following, including the laying of razor wire and use of excavators in their retreat, ultimately culminating in Cambodia claiming Thailand planned to celebrate the retirement of a Thai lieutenant general by taking the Takobre Temple, one of the locations where the skirmishes took place. Naturally, Thailand has rejected these claims, and the final claim is still developing. Thailand released images and video of 18 Cambodian prisoners of war that they refused to release until a, quote, complete cessation of armed conflict, not just a ceasefire, end quote, happens. Another and allegedly third such incident of Thai soldiers stepping on landmines on the Cambodia-Thailand border has threatened to disrupt the fragile ceasefire. And we want to stress that in a time of growing conflict, determining something as a war before seeing the events play out seems largely foolish at best. This conflict saw a collection of influencers jumping to conclusions and branding this skirmish as a war when it just wasn't, nor could it be classified as one. This was a minor armed conflict at best, which the Uppsala Conflict Data Program classifies as anything between 25 and 1,000 battle-related deaths in a calendar year, meaning that conflicts can be upgraded and downgraded depending on the severity of the fighting during that year.
Thailand to send video and photo evidence of Cambodia laying landmines to Geneva.
Very interesting. Has anything been sent yet?
No, this just came out literally a few hours ago. The evidence discovered by the Royal Thai Navy reportedly includes time-stamped digital files showing Cambodian troops deploying landmines along the border.
Wellity.
Well, there's also you know, we've heard plenty of things about how there's going to be proof. And then
Yes.
South China Morning Post here says Thai military shows what it says are landmines found on Cambodia's border. I think there's video here.
Yes, I've seen those. I've seen those pictures. It just looks like foliage, but I'm not a mine expert, so it could be.
Yeah, the pictures aren't in this article.
Yeah, there are also like 3D printed mines in Ukraine now, so maybe that's a thing. But who fucking knows, really?
I just think that it's like, I'll be shocked if evidence is presented that actually proves Cambodia did this.
Yes.
I'll be really
as
shocked.
I said in the script, I would require like extraordinary claims, extraordinary evidence. You know what I mean? And both of them are a signatory of the Ottawa Treaty, as I said.
Well, it's just more, it's
So
like I said, it's like Japan dropping a nuke. It's just, there's too much national scarring from that specific weapon. Cambodia, they have the landmine rats.
Yes.
They're not actually rats. They're like bigger than rats, but they're a rodent that sniffs out all the landmines for them that they've trained.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I also found out that there were 11 sites, I believe, that they were fighting over. Could be 7. One of the two. I could be getting
the main one
mixed
is
up because there was
the
7,
World
11.
Heritage Site that they said couldn't be a World Heritage Site.
Yeah, and that's the one that I said is the location, I believe, which is called... I will try to pronounce it.
China said that something along the lines of like Cambodia should stop provocating.
Ooh, interesting. So Tamon Tom, what I'm going to say, Tamon Tom Temple, and I believe it's...
so this is one of the how many wars that Trump ended?
This is one of the 5.
I thought there were 6.
Is there 6 now?
I thought that's what he said. But, you know, there's still articles. I mean, BBC 14 hours ago has an article on this. Like, it's still relevant.
That's why I'm saying that it's, like, still developing. And I updated this, I think, 5 days ago.
But I think what's really interesting is the politics behind everything that's going on.
Yes, with the Thai president getting deposed.
Well, Cambodia has always been basically a dictatorship.
Yes.
And it's like Kazakhstan is very similar because... the like longtime dictator of Kazakhstan steps down, but he appointed himself like the eternal ruler or something. So he can still, if he really wants to come to work, he can basically. It's like the king of Saudi Arabia. Like the crown prince is effectively the leader of Saudi Arabia, but the king is technically the leader. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So
it's not kind of like England, right? It's not England where it's like symbolic. They can actually come back and have power.
Well, Thailand also has a king, but it's a much different
and
system.
they've got a weird thing about their military as well. They're like national pride, military pride. And that's, I think that's connected to why the
like they always reported as
deposed.
Royal Thai military, but I believe Cambodia is also the Royal Cambodian military.
Interesting.
But I think their monarchy is more symbolic. Probably should have looked this up. But
still can.
Dictator is like the former dictator is just off his rocker, man. Like he's just doing just crazy things. And it's interesting because it's like the secret phone call between Reagan and Thatcher when he invaded Grenada.
Yeah.
You know, like it shows something that you're not really supposed to see as somebody who's like in the public.
Yeah,
and
true.
so like leaking the phone call of her like basically being like, oh, this is all politics, you know, the military's just hot-headed, don't worry about it. And then that being used by the nationalists to push her out. I think she also just did there was news about her in court or something.
Who?
The former prime minister.
In Thailand.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She just did something. Let me see.
What are they going to do? Execute her? Do they have capital punishment? Maybe only for special cases.
It's just saying that she's testifies over a phone call that got her booted from the job. But just leaking private phone calls in politics is something that just doesn't happen. And like,
why is that though? Like, why?
I'm just saying that like, I don't believe. Well, it's because of national pride and shit, because she was
saving face.
It's like Georgia Maloney, you know, like Georgia Maloney doesn't want to fucking talk to press. She wants to fucking go behind closed doors where they can be real people and just fucking get shit done, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you don't reveal that stuff.
Yeah.
because people are dumb.
Yeah.
And so he did it on purpose, specifically to provoke. And so that's what's interesting about China saying, like, stop provoking them, because this guy's just being an asshole for no reason.
I mean, to be fair, the UN did rule that it was Cambodian, in all fairness. And Thailand has been salty about it since Siam became...
Oh, the site.
Yeah, so Thailand has been a bit
I really think
about
that it's not even about the site.
Well, I think it's more because of the position of the sites, because they're overlooking...
I don't think it... I think that's
Thailand.
just side shit. I think
Possibly.
this is more to do with the politics between... So, like, also, like, both countries... This is another thing that we've been saying. Both countries, like, could easily have a military coup tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're next to Burma. Sorry, Myanmar. That could happen tomorrow in either of these countries.
That is very true.
The military is extremely powerful. And so that's another thing, is the politicking around appeasing the military so that coup doesn't happen is another factor of it.
Yeah,
Because...
and that's why the president got kicked out, right? She was insulting the military.
Yeah.
And then a war, well, a skirmish.
Clashes.
A little trading of artillery happened between these two. How interesting. Like, when else have we seen something like that where it's like, oh, we just got rid of this person, we need to establish ourselves. Kind of interesting, right? This is also why I'm like, Thailand needs to show a lot more evidence than... Well, Cambodia laid fresh mines. Look at this grass. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to... I need much, much, much more evidence.
Well, if they show this video...
Exactly.
The video's just going to be like, infrared black and white, super zoomed in, where you can't actually see what's going on.
I bet you that's what it'll be.
Like, there's a very famous, like, Apache video from the early Iraq War where they see them clearly stashing weapons and then, like, running back to the weapons. And they, like, it's like they communicate for, like, 3 minutes before they start shooting, saying, like, all the evidence they have before they're cleared to engage.
Yes,
yeah.
You've shown me that.
But, like, you can clearly see missile tubes and stuff like that in that video. Like that's
RPGs
what,
and shit.
if that's, like, what America needs just to pull the trigger on an Apache helicopter in an active war, I think...
Unless, of course, it's collateral murder.
Well, that's different.
Kill Reuters stuff.
That's different, but still, that was also a crazy thing. I'm just saying, if you're going to start a war, you need to, like, have... it's clearly a landmine. It needs to have the Acme landmine thing on it.
Yes. Literally have Wile E. Coyote planting the TNT.
Cambodia...
That's about the evidence I would need.
I got a curveball here to end this section with. Maybe Cambodia is like, hey, if we get Thailand to invade us, they'll just step on all those old landmines and we'll get rid of them. It's cost us a lot of money to send these rats out when we could just have the Thai army come in here and step on them.
That's such a good idea. Imagine if that's what it was. Like, hey,
it's a curveball.
That would be
crazier things have happened.
Hey, you know how the Thai are really sensitive over these temples?
This is easily the stupidest conflict of the year, though. Much stupider than India-Pakistan. It is so stupid.
Yeah, really completely and utterly pointless.
Like, India had more evidence Pakistan was linked to an attack than this.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, even more so, it's like, they went into Cambodian territory. So no matter what, at the end of the day, Thailand went into Cambodia with a military force. There's no other way to cut it. Doesn't matter who fired first. But it also, as I said in the actual script, it doesn't matter who fired the first
Saddam
shot.
used to do this to Iran, where he would...
Incredibly silly.
So you'd take his MiGs and he'd fly them along the Iran-Iraq border and then step over the line and fly back to try and goat them into... having a interceptor missile hit on Iraq's side. So they would get engaged on the Iranian border side and fly back to Iraq, where they would get shot down and justify an invasion. And eventually it just didn't work or something like that. And Saddam eventually got really frustrated.
That's pretty funny.
And just did it anyway. I don't know exactly what happened.
Following successful military coups in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, primarily due to violence by JNIM and Daesh against mostly civilians who were getting increasingly angry with their feckless governments. These three states confederated in September 2023, calling themselves the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, completely abandoning ECOWAS and the Global North. This move away from the United States' sphere of influence predictably had the AES moved towards the Russian sphere of influence, and by proxy the notorious mercenary group Wagner, a group with deep ties to Russia's neo-Nazi network, which you can learn more about in our episode 25 of Let Them Eat Cake. Wagner has been operating in the area since 2017, however they have been in Mali from December 2021, finally withdrawing in June 2025, claiming to have completed their mission. Human Rights Watch has maintained a close eye on Wagner while in Mali. A recent report came out since their withdrawal accusing both Wagner and the Malian forces of gross crimes against humanity, specifically targeting members of the Fulani ethnic group, who the Russian and Malian forces have branded as al-qeada JNIM collaborators. Now, on this accusation of collaboration, this group is largely a nomadic pastoral people that have been occupying the Sahel region for thousands of years. Recent conflict have turned public sentiment against the group due to their participating in extremist Islamist attacks, resulting in neighboring militias actually mounting attacks against Fulani civilians, driving them further into the arms of Islamic extremists, and the cycle goes on with now Russia targeting them too. Additionally, JNIM is currently led by a Fulani fighter, which could aid in their successful recruitment targeting
Tuareg.
the ethnic group. What?
It's led by a Tuareg, not Fulani.
Double check it.
This isn't just easy to find, by the way.
I know. It took me a while to find it.
Tuareg Islamist. Ansar al-Din. It has been linked with al-Qaeda Organization of Islamic Macabre because its leader, Ayed Gaili, is the cousin of AQIM commander Hamda Ag Hama, and he's still the leader. And it looks like... So the other guy, Ansar Dean, is the Tuareg faction. The other one is led by this other guy who is also a leader, and he is Fulani, but he is not the main leader. Okay, and this group is Kataiba Makana, designated as a terrorist group by Canada. It's Makana Liberation Movement is what it means.
Makana. Additionally, the JNIM faction Kataiba Makana is currently led by a Fulani fighter, which could aid in their successful recruiting, targeting the ethnic group. Back to what Human Rights Watch found. In July 2025, Human Rights Watch released a report accusing Russian and Malian armed forces of, quote, committing dozens of summary executions and enforced disappearances of ethnic Fulani men since January 2025, end quote, amounting to, quote, at least 12, end quote, summary executions and around 81 forced disappearances. These accusations have been confirmed and corroborated by Human Rights Watch through interviews of witnesses, journalists, activists, etc. between February and May to come to this conclusion. Reports also show that forces summarily executed 65 Fulani herders around April in a Malian village, and as previously stated, JNIM have targeted Fulani men for recruitment, but successive Malian governments have conflated the Fulani community and Islamist fighters, putting them at grave risk. Widespread abuses by Wagner have been tracked by Human Rights Watch in their 3.5-year operation in Mali up until their June 6th withdrawal, making way for their replacement, which Human Rights Watch says is a, quote, paramilitary group under the direct control of the Russian government, end quote. This group, funnily enough, was also founded by Prigozhin, the founder of Wagner. Additionally, Wagner and Malian forces have been continually facing growing struggles against the Azawad movement, JNIM, and other separatist groups, taking massive losses in recent years. Both Wagner and Africa Corps, along with the Malian forces, have had constant rebel attacks targeting military equipment convoys and ambushes, and destroying or stealing armored vehicles, rifles, explosives, and ammunition. In July 2024, Russian and Malian forces faced a 3-day siege by the Azawad movement, losing a large number of soldiers, including a Wagner commander in the fighting. Importantly, this was the first time we found out about the Ukrainian Special Forces' involvement in training, giving intelligence to, and arming Tuareg militias in the area, which is what the Azawad movement is. Recently, Wagner's replacement took major losses after Azawad used Belgian anti-tank mines to ambush their convoy. They lost 4 soldiers and 3 were injured in the latest of seemingly Ukrainian-backed rebel group attacks, specifically targeting Russian assets in Mali and anywhere else Russia extends their influence.
What's kind of important is the Tuareg War, maybe, 2017-ish. Mm-hmm. The leader of and we're just going to call them al-Qaeda and ISIS now,
Okay.
just because it's simpler for the discussion.
Yep.
So
Simplistic sake.
the al-Qaeda leader, the Tuareg al-Qaeda leader, he was a military commander for the Tuareg liberation movement at the time, which is not what it's called. I'm just simplifying. So Azawad, the Tuareg movement today is like it's like the Tigrayan Defense Forces versus the TPLF, right? Like they rebranded. So he actually was a military commander, and basically he tried to gain control over the forces, but because he's an Islamist, they were like, no. So after he failed to take over control of one of the main forces within the Tuareg rebellion movement, he splintered off, creates Ansar Dine, which ends up being Al-Qaeda in the region.
Yep.
And eventually all the Al-Qaedas
Sahel, or whatever it is,
form under the same umbrella after the jihadists take over. Now, the feckless government thing. So there's a reason why currently the only place that's really struggling with terrorism is this place. And like, I guess you could say Somalia, but the thing is Boko Haram, not Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab.
There's mosquitoes down there. That
like Al-Shabaab
then Boko Haram
could take over Somalia, but if they really make big moves, then a bunch of countries start getting involved and they lose a lot of what they've gained. So why even move forward? They have everything that they want, right?
Yeah, true.
So even Somalia, the terrorism is like non-existent there as compared to it was a few years ago, right? So this is the only region where terrorism is still a problem, a major problem, like the biggest problem. And so
Balochistan,
the reason why terrorism
that's the only
has
exception.
lowered all across the board is because David Petraeus figured out that you don't torture people in prisons to stop them from being terrorists.
You pay them.
Well, this whole softening approach. These governments were being really like, it's a modern colonialist French government that these governments had. And so it's understandable that they tried to do this softer approach, right? To soften, because when you respond with brutality, you get more extreme shit that happens.
Eye for an eye.
More extreme stuff that happens. So this whole
endless cycle.
Maybe we shouldn't, like the Arab prison system is why Al-Qaeda exists. All the radicalization happens in the prisons and stuff. So it's understandable why people would be upset when terrorist attacks keep happening, especially against the militaries. Specifically, is they were effective against the military in all these states. And then Russia comes in and goes, hey, these French guys are holding you back, aren't they? You know what you need? Us.
RPGs. AK-12s.
Right? So like technically, the Tuareg liberation movement is linked to Al-Qaeda in this way because a former commander is the leader of Al-Qaeda. Yeah. And this is very important because especially in Mali, the other guy who reads the Fulani side of things, he's also called for Fulani uprisings over the years before they really got into Islamist stuff. Yeah. And that guy learned all the Islamist stuff from the Tuareg leader of Al-Qaeda. So these two Al-Qaeda guys representing the Tuareg and Fulani forces in Mali end up having kind of a populist thing in their specific regions where they're able to command as warlords. And because of how Islamism is, it's very easy to take over things because you have something beyond nationalism. There's so much more than just fighting for your own liberation and freedom.
Why do you think communists banned religion?
But these countries, they kicked France out, which is the Ukrainian aspect is very interesting because that the Tuareg secular rebellion, it suddenly pops up again, and it's clearly being collaborated with Ukrainian special forces to do attacks on Wagner.
Yeah,
and Wagner claims they accomplished their mission, but it's like they start pulling out. Like they started getting the decision to pull out after they got sieged for 3 days and had people captured.
Because the convoy that I mentioned was, I think there were photos of a dude with a Ukrainian flag there, which is when we first found out about this, if I recall correctly.
Well, that's the thing is like Ukraine is operating everywhere where Wagner Forces is operating. They're in Sudan, like they've been there the whole time.
And why wouldn't they be?
But
realistically, if they can
another
afford
important aspect of the Tuaregs is that they're backed by Gaddafi. Obviously, we're backed by Gaddafi, right? And so Haftar is a wild card here because Russia is more loyal to Haftar because Turkey backs the UN government on the other side. of Libya.
Yes.
Because there's two Libyas.
Yes.
That's what people like Yemen. There's like people think Yemen is just the Houthis. There's two Yemens. So Haftar has been sending the Tuareg rebels specifically a bunch of gear, which is interesting because Haftar is supposedly Russian aligned and Russian backed, and these guys are definitely killing Russians.
That is very interesting. Something to watch.
But they have the Tuareg rebel movement now has Ukraine and Haftar backing them. And I imagine it would be pretty easy to get other Europeans on board. Even though Greece backs Haftar, I imagine they won't because they don't fuck with jihadis. They don't want terrorism in their country, and they haven't had it. So France could back these guys as well. Mm-hmm. So there could be a lot of factors of people peeling off from al-Qaeda, but that means that everyone, basically the coalition throughout this whole region of different al-Qaeda groups that came together could effectively collapse. And that means all those guys would go join ISIS.
Well, yeah, that too.
The Tuareg Liberation Movement is only fighting for the Tuaregs. The Fulani are only fighting for the Fulani. But with Islam, they're all fighting for Islam. And so that's why it has a lot of power for these types of things.
If they got enough forces, would they push back into the Middle East?
The Islamist?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's pretty isolated, West Africa, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and these mainly the guys that are part of the terrorist groups are historically nomads. So it's hard to say, but
definitely something to watch.
Africa is definitely more under threat of Islamism than the Middle East, I think.
I meant that more than pushing back into the Middle East. I mean, just like ISIS coming back in Africa.
Oh, I mean, ISIS has been there. You know, ISIS is huge.
Getting a bigger...
ISIS, like Boko Haram now doesn't exist because, I mean, they do, but...
Right? Huh? Burkina Faso is getting fucked by ISIS.
More successful there, but...
Yeah.
Mali, they get killed a lot by ISIS and al-Qaeda and the Tuaregs, and I'm not sure about Fulani groups.
Yeah.
But ISIS in Nigeria, serious group. Boko Haram was a household name.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at them. When's the last time you heard of Boko Haram kidnapping girls?
That is true. I do follow a Nigerian fighter, and he posts a lot of videos of wasted ISIS guys. So they're clearly doing something.
They have drones in Nigeria. Yeah. They can afford drones. So real drones, not just quads.
Well, like the Bayraktars. All right.
They do have Bayraktars. I don't see predators.
Of course they do. I'm not surprised.
Bro, they have their own drone.
That also doesn't surprise me.
They've developed their own drones, mostly recon.
Keeping on trend, our next story is about a current situation with Erik Prince, the ex-CEO of Blackwater and his rebranded PMC group involved with the Haitian government. To be fair here, I'm not sure whether Academy is actually involved or not, or whether it's just Erik Prince out hiring special forces specifically for this mission. And this is all in order to attack criminal gangs in a desperate attempt to regain control over the island nation since it fell into violent turmoil following the assassination of their president, Jovenel Moise, in 2021. The move towards Mercenaries over the US-backed Kenyan-led security mission, which is shown to be largely feckless, essentially giving up if they get a flat tire or even refusing to leave their armored vehicles. This has done precisely nothing to help the people of Haiti. In Port-au-Prince specifically, the gangs are edging on controlling over 90% of the city, and the government has moved to the Blackwater Bridge guy and his rebranded PMC potentially in an effort to wage a war against the gangs with advanced weapons like attack drones. Over 4,000 people have died in 6 months compared to just over 5,500 people last year. USAID shipments have been cut, with the last one finally reaching Haitian shores last month. Fears of famine with concern of further risk of sexual violence is growing. Despite Prince using advanced warfare in a civilian city, reports by the New York Times claims that he's killed more than 200 people since March 2025. However, it seems to be largely unsuccessful, with not one high-value target announced as killed or captured. Prince is expected to send 150 mercenaries, roughly, large caches of weapons and equipment to the country over the summer, to which the Haitian government is keen routinely waiting. The issue comes when these gangs control such a large swath of territory. You cannot discount the risk of the gangs attacking and acquiring these weapons. The risk of escalation with non-state actors is ever present and cannot be let slip away. This has already happened to another American PMC called Studebaker. Their mission was a training mission that had around 10 American mercenaries sent to Haiti. 2 were kidnapped, presumed dead, and a weapon cache was stolen. Largely AR-15 type weapons. Additionally to the armed violence in the country, sexual violence, as I mentioned, was specifically targeting women and children. A BBC report claimed that 1 in 5 victims, not 1 in 5 people, 1 in 5 victims of sexual violence is under the age of 18. The gangs are using rape as a weapon in Haiti. I do not want anybody to get this wrong. They are. This is not hyperbole. Compounding this problem, the final shipment of aid from USAID has reached Haitian shores, as I mentioned, but with this being the last one, the risk of sexual violence has multiplied as women and children are now going to put in further harm's way just to find something as basic as food. Only one city remains free from gang control. While sexual violence is targeting women and children, young men in Haiti are left with a difficult decision of starving or joining the gangs, similar to other areas with widespread conflict and poverty. It is important to stress here that the US has denied funding or participating in funding the operations in Haiti, placing it entirely on the Haitian government. The presence of mercenaries so far has seemingly not impacted the rate of violence. Perhaps Erik Prince will make a difference in the end, but only time will tell. But we shouldn't take our eyes off Haiti in the meantime, especially while mercenaries are in the country.
So on Tuesday, August 14th, Erik Prince actually did a short interview with Reuters. Most of the interview is context around who Prince is and the conflict, but it says here his company that he's operating there is Victus Global. And what he actually talked about in this interview was that he is designing and implementing a program to tax imported goods across Haiti's border.
Wow.
And so it seems like his main goal is not so much to take cities, but to gain control of all the roads.
Interesting.
And this company has been operating since March, mainly doing drone exercises. And also what's interesting is that it's actually in collaboration with the security forces, and the prime minister has direct oversight of the operation, similar to how operations were done in Iraq. And also something that nobody has reported, Erik Prince has experience in Haiti. He was deployed there with SEAL Team 8. No, I haven't heard anyone mention this.
That's very interesting. I have not seen that anywhere.
So, Erik Prince is desperate for a win at this point. Has he had anything go well for him?
Not that I can think of.
So, and also, I think the use of contractors, which everyone has said, this is where it's been going. We kind of stopped talking about it when Ukraine and Gaza became such a focus, I think.
Yes.
But this is a big thing for the last 2 years that we would hear constantly. And it's true because we were just talking about the region in West Africa. When the special forces guys were killed there under the Obama admin, people lost their minds, right?
Wasn't that Nigeria?
And
Wasn't that Nigeria?
No, Niger, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Tonga. I think it's Niger. Benghazi was all contractors, but somehow that mattered. We've gotten to the point where when it's contractors, it doesn't matter. In Gaza, contractors were doing the food distribution, and there was the whistleblowing case of them like shooting people trying to come get aid and all that stuff. Nobody cares because they're contractors. And this change in attitude is pretty concerning to me. But when it comes to Haiti specifically, Haiti is so bad that we're in a situation where it can't get any worse. Like,
it's pretty
I think it's
bad.
basically an automatic win by Prince.
Yeah.
Because the Kenyan police who deployed there to stabilize won't even leave their armored vehicles.
Yeah, it's pathetic. But also because Nigeria doesn't want a diplomatic incident because it was already...
Kenya.
Sorry, yes, Kenya. Kenya doesn't want a diplomatic incident because it was already criticized heavily and delayed because of Kenyan politics and because
the government's not exactly hanging on.
Yeah, so it was like a mix of like Kenyan politics kind of doomed this mission from the start. So they don't want anything to happen. So the Kenyan police aren't actually doing anything. So the gangs are able to freely roam and control the cities. While
if anything, it's made the situation worse.
Yeah, I would argue the same because they literally supply no security whatsoever. Like we watched the BBC report that we quoted before about the sexual violence. She was deployed there for how long? 6 months.
A few months, I think, since February.
Something crazy like that.
So I think she did 6 months.
Yeah, so she was there with the Kenyan forces, and there was a part of the video where she was in the armored vehicle with them. They got the tire, and that was what the tire was from. Like, literally, they gave up. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, we got
they
a flat
had
tire, back to base.
That's the thing is,
They're like
the
fucking
gangs
tradies.
have just shot the tires, knowing that it will stop the mission anyway.
Exactly.
So the gangs specifically target the tires because they go, "Oh, we got a flat tire, time to go home."
Yeah, and they don't come back seemingly.
But maybe a week or two ago, there's footage of supposedly one of the major gang leaders being taken out by these drone forces being operated by
I looked into that.
Prince.
Wasn't confirmed. It was just an attack on
Yeah.
the building. They didn't know if it was there or if it killed him.
Yeah.
No
Well, it's going to be hard to
confirmation.
confirm something like that.
But
with how little
concern
control
them
there is.
using it on civilian fucking buildings. Like, granted, sure, the gangs are civilians technically, but at the end of the day, you're using explosive drones on civilian buildings, people are going to die. It's only a matter of time. How many people are going to die? That's my concern.
It's going to be interesting to really start looking at the collateral of quadcopters compared to other forms of violence. Also, he said that the contract with the Haitian government is for 10 years.
Yes.
Which doesn't surprise me that Haiti's going to be in turmoil and violence for a decade. It's not shocking to me with the condition that it's in.
Yeah, it's a long road back for Haiti.
Well, I mean, some would say that it's never had back to where.
Well, yeah, true. I don't know much about the country.
We have a whole special that we did. You may not have been there.
I don't think I was.
I thought we were meant to set one up. Amazing breakdown of the complete history of Haiti. You will learn so much about the country, why it is the way it is, all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. When did that happen?
Oh, maybe a year ago.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Because we were meant to talk to that other lady.
Yeah, well, the reason why I delayed it is because we had just done this.
Yeah.
Like, she was too late to the reply.
Yeah, fair.
Let me see if it's in just the LTEC.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Crisis in Haiti, 2 hours. It's a 2-hour... Yeah, you're not here. Ace is here.
That's funny.
In this. That's how old it is.
Damn. Well, you'll have to link that. There's another reference. There you go. We got LTEC 25 and...
2 hours.
There you go.
All on Haiti.
I'll have to watch it. But yeah, so it's like... You know, the situation in Haiti is not good. People are very focused on Gaza for obvious reasons. But as we've spoken about, there are a lot of things going on in the world. There are a lot of people at risk. Haiti, Mali, the Sahel in general. Sudan, the Congo, still, even though this conflict
Eric
is
Prince
supposedly
also involved
ended.
in the Congo.
There you go.
Who
the
isn't,
Congo, yeah, exactly. So the Congo is always going to be an issue, even if this like M23 thing is finally finished, apparently.
Trump ended the war.
Doubt it. There's a lot going on. Gaza is not the
You
only
have
thing
TDS.
happening in the world. Armenia,
Why did
Azerbaijan
that
seems
play?
to be Dunsky, which is great. There's still Balochistan and that whole thing. Obviously the Kurds with Syria as well. You know, there's a lot of shit going on.
Maybe we'll go over the conflict index.
Yeah.
Every war going on right now, we'll call it.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. But yeah, like, it's just like you all have capacity to care about more than one thing. Like, you don't need to put all your effort into Gaza. You can still simultaneously talk about all this stuff, especially stuff like Haiti. Haiti is very important right now. Nobody gives a fuck about Haiti. Not even its neighbor gives a shit about Haiti. It's literally gotten to the point where they're going to Erik goddamn Prince because nobody cares. I think that's a pretty big concerning red flag, and people need to start waking up and start talking about things that aren't just the thing in the press. And obviously it's not everyone, but like there are a lot of people that consume pop media, and Gaza is the hot thing. Gaza is what gets people watching. And like our Sudan video did good at the start, got to like 700 views, dead in the algorithm. Like, it's just our Ethiopia video about Tigray, the two of them, didn't go anywhere.
This doesn't matter. You're yapping. You're taking more time.
I am yapping.
Stop yapping.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?